guys are serial entrepreneurs and you're obviously also a married couple.
Yeah.
Which one of those has been easier?
We built our first agency website during our honeymoon.
Money mindset was a huge hurdle for me to try and get over. We lost tens of thousands of pounds. We knew that something had to change.
I think it's the ability to spot an opportunity and act on it.
In today's episode, you're going to meet Martin Humpback and Lyndsay Cambridge, a real-life husband and wife duo, and also the founders of Jammy Digital, an agency that they've been running for the last 10 years that works with established entrepreneurs in creating and amplifying content through video first. Also this year, not only have they built their business to this scale, but they are also going into partnership with Daniel Priestley for a brand new video AI technology launch. I can't wait to hear about how they have built the agency, sustained it, and what they think the future of their business looks like. Welcome to Don't Work Harder, the business show brought to you by Atomic, and I'm your host, Suman Randhawa. This is the show where we teach you how you can take huge leaps in your business, not just by working harder, but by working braver. Hello, Martin and Lyndsay. Great to see you.
Hi, so excited to be here.
Yeah, it's really fantastic to have you in front of me. Now, this is a bit of a first for me because this is the first couple that I'm speaking to. Now, when I've been doing my research, and I was saying this to you off camera, you guys are serial entrepreneurs and you're obviously also a married couple.
Yeah.
Which one of those has been easier?
I think the marriage.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, the marriage has been easier.
If you'd have put one of those like blind date walls, they would have both said the same thing.
Right, you'd have put the same card up for that
100%,
one.
Yeah, 100%.
So serial entrepreneurs, it's really interesting because I think you were saying to me 4 or 5 businesses, and we'll talk about what I know you most for is Jammy Digital, which I would love to find out a little bit more about. But where does this spirit come from in both of you that you have had a number of businesses?
Well, I absolutely didn't have any business kind of skills or anything growing up. My family had normal jobs. It wasn't until I met Lyndsay that
It's my fault.
Lyndsay opened up this crazy world of business to me.
Yep. So my parents ran a business together. They were also married. And I got to see that growing up and what that was like.
Okay.
And it had ups and downs, but I loved it as part of my childhood. So I think I've just replicated that naturally. Yeah. I never actually set out to do that, but when we first got jobs, I was like, this really isn't for me. Do you fancy just starting a business?
Actually, let me correct this. When she told me about what her mum and dad had done, I thought, that sounds interesting.
Okay.
What do you mean that people can earn more than a salary? Like, it's unlimited. Yeah. Like they had this year where they earned this much money. And she was like, but I've seen how difficult it is running a family, running a business. So it's actually like really like I would want to avoid it. And then the more that I learned about it, the more mum and dad lit up when they were explaining how they ran a business when Lyndsay was young. I kind of got a little bit of the bug, and then eventually, after a few conversations, she was like, "Okay, let's start something and see how it goes." Yeah. So it was more of a reluctant kind of.
It was a bit reluctant to begin with because I had seen how difficult it was and how much my parents had to really hustle and work extremely hard every hour of every day, and really sort of do that. So I'd seen it from that point of view. I hadn't seen another way of doing it. So I was at first a bit more reluctant to sort of go down that route, definitely.
Yeah.
So with what you've just said, so the pattern you saw is it worked, but they worked very hard.
Yes.
So what is the sentence, if you guys were to both look back at the businesses that you have built and what you have achieved and what you've achieved for others, what's the second half of that sentence for you then? Don't work harder, work
within a team, definitely.
Interesting. Okay, we've not had that answer before. So within a team.
Yeah.
And Martin?
Work with whoever you can find. So for me earlier, it was listening to audiobooks, listening to podcasts, all about the idea of outsourcing early. So Lyndsay has had a different experience, but when I started working with clients and we started to working with freelancers really early on, just because the information I was getting was take some of your money and give it to people to make your life easier.
Right.
And listening to the stories from Lyndsay's upbringing, her mum and dad had a slightly different approach, which was do as much as you can, work as many hours as you possibly can, and keep as much money as you can, and it's going to make everything else easy.
Yeah.
And I think early on, I'm thankful that I was listening to certain podcasts like this one.
Yeah.
And I was able to say to Lyndsay, this is what I'm hearing. So she had the experience of growing up in that kind of environment, which was good for her family, and that's the way that they did it. But for me, it was always, if I can spend more time, going for a walk every day, if I can spend more time talking to Lyndsay, or we can go out for a coffee and somebody can be working on something so that the clients are happy, that's going to make me happier. And all of the podcasts I was listening to were preaching that back in 2013, 2014.
Yeah, to me, it was alien. So that was, when you say what's harder, marriage or business, that was one of the first arguments of many in business that we've had. For me, it was sort of an alien concept to hire people to do work that you could easily do and give some of your money away to that. That was really a big hurdle for me to get over because I'd never seen that. And when we first did it, it was just like a sudden realization, actually, this is just amazing because then I can focus on the stuff that I actually really love to do. But it was a really, really big hurdle. And I think a lot of, I'm not overly keen because I describe myself as quite pragmatic, but I'm not overly keen on, mindset and all that kind of stuff. But actually money mindset was a huge hurdle for me to try and get over. Actually, if you spend a bit of money, you can save yourself time. In that saving time, you can actually earn more money by focusing on something that's really productive. So that was a big sort of shift.
Yeah, and I think it was when we just got married in 2013, and we actually
the eyebrows raised because the calculation I just did there was, and then soon after you launched this business, Jammy Digital. So
we ran a local agency first for a couple of years.
Okay,
got a few local clients,
and still managed to get married after that.
Well, yeah, and it was kind of towards the back end of 2012 that we started to pick up a few local clients.
Okay.
We got married on the 4th of January 2013.
Very impressed that he knows the date.
He remembered that. That is very good. This podcast. What's the date?
Yeah, exactly.
I think we built a website on the 8th.
Yeah.
And that's why, we were literally on our honeymoon.
We were on our honeymoon.
On our honeymoon, and we built our first agency website during our honeymoon. So that's how kind of at the point we were at, we're getting married, so we're going to have a big year. And I think we'd gone to, I think went on a cruise in the September of that year. And that's where we'd started to say, well, we can't go on holiday if we have clients because they're going to need things from us. So it started to pick up a few clients, and we went on a holiday. And during that holiday is when we forced ourselves to hire somebody to be doing something while we're on holiday for a week.
So really early on.
Yeah, I think it was actually on the holiday where I started to listen to books by Tim Ferriss, 4-Hour Work Week, about outsourcing early. So we're able to test while we're on holiday. I was listening to some books and I was really getting to opening my mind because, like I said, Lyndsay had experience of running a business. So she had all these preconceived notions. Yeah. I knew nothing other than the fact that this was fun. So I had to force myself to listen, to learn, to acknowledge that these people had been there and done it.
Right.
So we used the opportunity to listen, learn, go on holiday while having somebody help us out with some website work. And it meant that when we started back on the Monday after we got back off our holiday, we didn't have to have that overwhelming feeling of, now I've got to catch up and do the work we're supposed to do. Things were being done, so we were able to update clients on what had been done while we were away. And it was a game changer from really early on. So we'd always kind of seen it from that point.
It's interesting to do it so early. And it sounds like actually, and the fact that you both said that, I mean, obviously you've done podcasts together and you work together, but you both said it at almost at the same time. So now, how many people are in your team? We're going to take a short pause to hear from one of our sponsors. Sponsors help us make the best show possible. Don't Work Harder is sponsored by Constant Contact, the digital marketing platform built with small business owners in mind. With Constant Contact, you can grow your contacts list, send out more emails, organise social media and events, and simply get more done with their advanced automation tools. It's everything you need to grow your business, advance your automation, and attract more of the right customers all in one place. Visit constantcontact.com to get started. Now, how many people are in your team?
So we have about 12 people on our team, 6 are employees, and then the others are sort of freelancers.
Wow.
And that does include ourselves.
Okay.
So it's a really good team. And I always think 12 is a really nice size because once you start getting beyond that, people start to form kind of silos and their own sort of mini teams within it.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice sort of size 12 where people are still all talking together and it all feels like one team. A lot gets done, but it's small enough for us to move very fast when things change. So when, AI came in and all those kind of things, we were able to move very, very fast on it because our team was quite small. Other agencies that had 50, 60, 100 people, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And I always think that is such a forgotten advantage of being a small business. You can move fast.
You can be so much more agile, can't you? Because you haven't got the red tape of corporate that we'll all remember.
The problem is a lot of businesses don't. A lot of small businesses don't move fast. They kind of get stuck and that's actually their advantage and they need to kind of get on that quick.
Yeah.
Know that that's their advantage. And if they want to kind of go up against the big guns, like we go up against big agencies and we can do that because we're more agile. You need to know where your strengths are with that. And I think sometimes small businesses sort of forget your main strength is your size and the fact that you are small and you can move.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to do it then and do it quick.
One of the things that I'm quite interested to ask is, as you've gone through the growth stages of the business, so less about the people, but what positions became important? So what was that very first person that you got in when you guys were on the cruise? What was that role?
Oh, so that was when we were building websites.
Yeah,
so
I know that was a different business.
A little bit of tech support. When it came to Jammy, when it came to hiring somebody, it was fairly recently. I think it was 2023, wasn't it? When we hired.
2022, I think.
Yeah. So we'd got to a point where we needed someone to support with strategy.
Okay.
So some of the support for dealing with freelance writers, because we'd switched from web design over to content.
Content, that's right, yeah.
Leading up to that point, we'd started to produce a lot of written content and video content for ourselves.
Okay.
And we realized that our business was growing as a result of it.
Yeah.
So when the pandemic hit, it kind of shifted and we kind of muddled our way through doing the websites. But we realized that when we really saw growth in our business, it was because we were actively publishing content. So when it came to a fork in the road, the pandemic and after the pandemic and people withdrawing their deposits, we were like, do we want to continue running this business? Because something's happened in the world, it's shifted. If we want to make a shift and a pivot, now's the time to do it. So I think it was January 2022 when we launched the content writing service.
Okay.
And the content writing service meant that it was more process driven. So we'd learn all of the bad habits from project work and bloat and scope creep. So when we relaunched Jammy, the start of 2022, we basically said, let's make sure that it's productized, it's simple, it's clean, it's easy to hire for. People get a set number of pieces of content. We've not got this massive project. So it was very easy at that point to say, oh, we need one person. And when we get more clients, we have more projects, we have more content demand, then we can hire somebody else. And it became a little bit more of a system and a process rather than we're feeling very stressed right now, let's hire someone because we've got too many projects.
Martin, do you mind, sorry, just because that's actually quite interesting, I think, to share. So it feels like you guys recognize that there's a multiplier effect.
Yes.
So if I was to break it down into a bit of a formula, what is it that you look for before you made the decision, right, now we bring somebody in?
Yep. So it's the cash flow.
Okay.
So what happens when you productize your service is that I can say, I've got 5 clients right now. They all pay me up front.
Yeah.
And they are paying monthly at the same time every single month. So I can forecast 6 months, 12 months, 18 months in advance. I know exactly how much is going to be on my bank account. You can think, okay, maybe I'll lose a client, maybe I'll gain a client. You can kind of plan for that. that's when you know that you can hire someone, and particularly an employee, because that's a lot scarier, in my opinion, than hiring, say, a freelancer. When you're hiring an employee, I think that you have to understand your cash flow and what it looks like in 6 to 12 months. Can you realistically think, I can pay their salary very comfortably, they have enough work to do? And only when you're in that position can you start hiring employees, I think. Because what happened before that is we were doing web design projects, and great, we get 30 grand in January, we get nothing in February, get nothing in March, we might get 15 grand in April, but you don't know. So you might hire a web designer and they might be doing nothing in February and March, you know, and then you're sort of thinking, well, how do I pay them in those months? Because the projects are all random. But as soon as you productize your service, you understand, okay, in the next 6 to 12 months, I can accurately predict what is going to come into my bank account. Then you can say, okay, from here, I know I can hire XYZ person because I know that I can pay them every month. And that's what makes a huge difference.
So it was January we launched the service, and we did quite well when we launched. And it wasn't until June, I believe, we hired our first employee.
Yeah,
Right,
so we had 6 clients when we launched in January, which was amazing.
And that was the new services,
Yes.
All productized. So essentially they pay, I think it was about £2,000 a month at the time for blog writing. It was a standard set amount of blogs they got per month. So it was like 4 per month or something like that. I was writing all the content at that point. So I knew, okay, I'm getting, say, 12 grand a month from these clients. It's coming in monthly. The clients are really happy. I've built this process. Now I can actually hire an employee to sort of manage this for me, to help me with that, because I knew that those clients were happy. They were coming in. And then I had a bank of clients just in case one dropped out, you know, that would want to join as well. So it's really, really simple to sort of do it that way.
Because it was productized.
Because it was productized.
I've known of you guys for a few years, but actually this is probably like I'm all in on listening to you, because I'm so interested in hearing how you guys have run the business, because I really have been an outsider looking in, and now as I'm going to get to hear this, what I'm really curious about is not like, I can see how well this partnership works from the fact that you both are not talking over each other, the fact that you seem to automatically both know who answers which part of the question. So now when I think about the business, who takes what roles in the business?
It's a really good question, actually. So I think that when you kind of get married, you don't automatically look for someone who's also a good business partner. So
no, you don't.
That would have been a convenient way to go.
That would have been convenient. So there are some skills that we have that are very different, which is helpful. There are some skills that we have that kind of overlap. So we're both very good at marketing. We both love doing like podcasts like this, and we both love content marketing. We're both not great at organization.
Doesn't come across. That's so interesting.
I think the more the detail, the organized, the everyday kind of organization and things like that, the kind of strategic and processes is more sort of my side, but the organization on a kind of daily level is probably where we both have weaknesses. So in terms of what I do, it's marketing, and it's also strategy and processes. I would say your strengths are definitely marketing, sales, and product development. I'm talking for you.
Yeah. I think, funnily enough, we both had sales roles growing up when we were 18, 19, even earlier.
Yeah.
We actually met in a sales environment. So Lyndsay was actually a customer. Yeah, it was interesting because you were in marketing, which I found fascinating. So on our first date, we found it very easy to talk about what Lyndsay was doing, what I was doing. And I loved sales, and I was sort of fast tracking my way into management when I was 19. So we had a lot to talk about. And the business stuff that your mom and dad went through was fascinating. So coming into starting a business together, we already had quite a lot of communication skills, and it was so easy for us to speak to new clients. And I've always been in customer service or management or sales. So talking to people has been very, very easy for me. It always has been.
Yeah.
But the business side and understanding like how to make money and profit and what that looks like, I had a real issue growing up with imagining what a business would look like because I'd not experienced it.
Of course, yeah.
So when I started, because initially it was me that started dropping hours at work to start the first agency. And it was interesting because I could only see, oh, well, if I'm getting paid this much from a salary from a job, then I theoretically just need to earn that much from a business. So when I'm charging clients, I was charging very, very low rates just to try to get some experience. And it took us a long time. And I think judging by my lack of experience and your experience in being quite frugal with your parents, it took us a long time to understand that the work that we was doing was actually a lot more valuable than we were led to believe. So we were doing websites for 300 quid here and there, and we were writing content for £150, and it was just shocking looking back at it that when we first started, and we were dipping our toe in the water, but it took us a long time to charge an appropriate amount.
We had the wrong target market, I think.
Completely wrong target market, wrong mindset. It took us a long time, and we weren't, in Manchester or London. We weren't, pitching big businesses. We were pitching local restaurants that, struggled to get the tables filled. So it slowed our growth to a point, and it was only when we went further afield and we, started working with clients further around the country that we were like, we are undercharging. And that's only from joining communities, meeting people like Andrew and Pete, going to those first events in 2015, 2016, and broadening our mindset around how much money we should be charging, how much money people are willing to pay. Thank God we went to those events, because
the events have been an absolute game changer.
Yeah, we were just attending so
events. Yeah, just meeting people, networking. And I'm quite introverted naturally, but you always find your people, and when you attend events, it's just so good, because the amount of work that you get just from meeting someone, nothing beats meeting someone face to face. I don't think
it doesn't, does it?
It probably
no
matters
matter how much,
more now than it has ever mattered. It's actually really good if you can meet people face to face. We do with our clients now. We don't have many clients, but we meet them all face to face quite regularly, and that's something that sets us apart. While everyone's trying to do everything online, what people like is a personalized service.
Love
so
that.
if you can deliver that, that actually makes you stand out quite a bit.
So like you guys have achieved a lot. So if I was to say to you, the principles I get of what things you were starting to relook at that realized you needed to shift, I guess for anyone who's listening to this, the logic makes sense. I can hear where you were. I know because I've done the research, so I know where you're at. If there was like one pivotal moment, what was it that changed you from those people to the people that are sat here in front of me?
I think it's the ability to spot an opportunity and act on it. Now, that's happened in multiple situations.
Okay.
So getting our first clients was off the back of me meeting people and saying, here's what I'd like to do, and having the courage to push through, even if it was pitching a first website project for someone that might not have been looking for one. If it was, reaching out to someone to speak at their event or being a guest on somebody's podcast. Very, very few times have I had success from bombarding people. It's always been quite a deliberate approach, which is, I think that person's a good person. I would love to be on their podcast. I'm going to reach out to them. Or I'd love to do a workshop for their community. Or I'd love to work with that client. And literally, we landed our biggest client. It's completely changed our lives, from a conversation between me and Lyndsay and saying, if I could work with anybody in some capacity, it would be this person. And that single-handedly transformed our business and our agency.
Can you say who that was, or what business that was?
Yeah, absolutely. So Daniel Priestley, you mentioned him before. Yeah. He was somebody who I've admired for a while. I was reading his books when I first started my business, and 2013, 14 and 15. And I always looked, and anytime someone says, how did you end up working with Daniel?
The very question I was going to ask,
I was quite frustrated with the lack of content that he was putting out. And I say this to him all the time. The reason that I reached out to you was because I really wanted to get some content, but there was such a lack of it, mainly because his business was mainly offline. It was events, it was local meetups and events, and that's how his business grew. But when the pandemic hit, he had to move his business online quite quickly, like everybody did. And he wasn't necessarily seeing the same kind of success that you would expect from somebody that's written all of these books and spoken on all these amazing stages and generated millions in revenue. So it was more out of, do I genuinely think this person is a good person, they'd be good to work with? Yes, I do.
It's a genuine opportunity you saw.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was a single opportunity. It wasn't me reaching out to 20 different people using automation software and some fake video pitch. It was me having an honest conversation that said, I've followed your advice. We've published a book. Here it is. And I'd love to work with you in some capacity. And I think you are the kind of person that, probably needs some support getting online ready. And I'd love to do a free website audit to tell you what content you could be producing. Some of your videos could do with improving, and this is the kind of stuff we've helped clients with.
But you started off small, didn't you? And I think that's the big thing that people maybe get wrong when they're trying to shoot for, this person that they really want to work with, is that you started by giving something for free that was valuable.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was a small kind of service that you offered from the beginning. So it's very tempting to be like, you should do this and you should do that.
You built that trust.
You built that trust first.
Yeah.
We got amazing results. And then over time, it's got bigger and bigger, the partnership that we've had together. But you have to build that trust first. You can't expect to kind of reach out to someone and think they're going to spend, tens of thousands with you straight away. They're not. It's building that trust from the beginning.
And at that point, did Daniel know of you?
We'd connected. I think we followed each other on Twitter, but probably not. I think there's a lot of people that have connected with him over the years. It was probably, I would say, a cold pitch, but it was a video, and that kind of planted the seed for everything that we've ever done together, because it was a video. It was an honest video. It was uncut. It was raw. It was a Loom video, and I basically said, "This is your website. This is what I think we could do to improve it. I'm happy to record a longer audit video for you. Let me know if that sounds like something you'd be interested in." And it was raw, authentic, and I think it connected because it wasn't an email. It connected because it wasn't just a DM. It was effort, but it was authentic effort. And I think there's something to be said for that. And definitely in the world that we're in now, authentic effort is something that is few and far between.
Right. And you were saying, Lyndsay, about your strategy has been not to have masses of clients.
Yes.
And obviously we're talking about cash flow and the difference between projects and actually having, I'm assuming they're retainer clients.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about what has the thinking been behind less clients and the retainers, rather than having like big amounts of cash dropping in?
Yeah. So it was really came kind of a lesson to be learned during the pandemic. So during the pandemic, we had a lot of websites on the go, which is great. We charged sort of 25% upfront for a website, and then it was in bits. And we mainly dealt in the travel industry, so you kind of know what's coming with it being 2020.
During that time,
And I think we call it like the Black Week or whatever it was. It was pretty much, we got a call off every single client saying, I can't pay you for the rest of this website. So automatically what happened was we lost tens of thousands of pounds, and we had no other money coming in. We were in the middle of the pandemic. People weren't really after a website at that time.
You would have had a small baby at that time?
We had Lucas, who was 1 at that time. So it was very, very incredibly scary.
I'm feeling the stress here, right?
We felt very stressed. So we knew that something had to change, and I started reading a few books about, productizing. I started seeing more and more about it online, and I thought that actually sounds really good. And at the time, we were being asked about content marketing, because during the pandemic, I thought I didn't know what to do. I just knew to write. We just knew we wanted to write a book. We're like, we don't know what to do. We're sort of really struggling here. All these clients have cancelled. We're just about getting by on beans on toast with a 1-year-old. But we can write a book. So we wrote a content marketing book. I was learning more about productizing. Once we published that book, people started asking us, can you do my content? Because this book is brilliant.
Content Fortress, is that right?
Content Fortress, yeah. This book is brilliant, and I really want to produce the content that you recommend I write in the book, but I haven't got time. Can you do it for me? And I thought that's the productized service that we can do.
Yeah, and we very much didn't, and it sounds like a stupid business decision, but we wrote a book based on what we knew to be true that wasn't out there.
Self-published, was it?
Yeah, it was self-published, and we wrote it based on how we grew our agency using content.
Right.
But our agency didn't offer it as a service. So it's like you just published this book and spent all this time during the pandemic, like trapped at home with a 1-year-old.
It was almost like you spotted it as soon as you were writing it.
Why have we written a book for a service we don't even offer? We're just documenting the process and how we were able to attract better clients using specific content. But we were still building websites. And it's like, this absolutely is not linked. So it took us, a year and a half, 2 years from writing the book to be like, why aren't we offering this as a service? And that then led into to that after we'd struggled through 2020, 2021. Yeah. And then we switched in 2022.
And we had a membership at the time. And I think going back to your question about one thing that you've learned, for me, and I think this is something that impacts a lot of entrepreneurs, is I can be quite dreamy. So when I had when we had our membership, I thought we're going to get thousands of members and we're going to just run this wonderful membership.
And what was the service that was offered in the membership?
It was content. So it was all about kind of your website and your content. Every week we would review people's content.
So as you pivoted the business, the main thing that you took out was an online membership. Is that right? The main thing you took out to market, I should say.
Yes. Yeah, it was an online membership. And it was a really good membership.
Okay.
We had 100 members.
Yeah.
It was
pretty
about
impressive.
£30 a month.
Mm-hmm.
We'd do blog post templates, we'd do content templates. Everything was there based on what we'd put in the book.
But I thought this is going to attract thousands of people.
Yeah, scale.
But we didn't have an audience. And I don't really understand in my brain how I thought I was going to attract thousands of people. I just thought the product was really brilliant. So the product can do the marketing for me, when actually we didn't have an audience. So I think being more realistic with what your strengths are and what you've got is probably the biggest lesson I've learned, because switching to done for you and then getting clients at 10, 15, 20 plus £1,000 a month on retainer and building a 7-figure business that way was a lot more actually doable and easier than launching a membership.
So the high ticket was easier than selling the low ticket.
High ticket was
They
way
always say that,
easier.
don't they? And you experienced it.
100%. Yeah. And we were earning £3,000 a month from a membership that we were spending hours in there, so much every week, giving so much. And we really loved it. And it was very hard letting it go, because it was like, we loved the members, we loved what we were doing. But ultimately, it was we felt like we had more of an impact one-to-one working with clients. And also it was a lot faster growth. Mm-hmm. And now we might be, or in the future, we might be in a place where we can do a membership as our audience grows. But I think that's one thing I've learned, to be a little bit more realistic with what you've got.
How, thinking of you as the more the sales person, am I right to say that, Lyndsay?
Absolutely, yes.
Well, how did you have to change the way you were selling versus selling spots for a membership to selling high ticket and getting retainer clients? What had to shift in the way you were selling? Because you're suddenly talking about big numbers, big projects, less people.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that we did, and the one thing when you have a productized service, you're gifted this incredible opportunity to do what Daniel Priestley talks about, which is explicitly describe your capacity. So for instance, when you have a website project, one website could be done in 3 months, another one might take 3 years, depending on how much content and contact you've got. So it's very difficult to actually project kind of what the next 6 months, 12 months looks like, which is why it was difficult for us to hire. When we launched the productized service and it was this many blog posts, this many clients, this much work involved, this many employees, it's so much easier to say we can take 5 clients on at any given stage. So the second we decided that we wanted to do this as a service, we did what we do to this day, and we launched a wait list. So we launched a wait list in like the November, December, and we said, we grew our business using content. If you would like to hire us to do your content for you, then join the waitlist. And the waitlist, and you can join it. And when we are ready to offer this as a service, you'll want to make sure that you get in, because we've got quite a few people on our email list, even though it's a few thousand. We only needed 5 or 6 clients in order to completely fix our business. And the one thing that we had was building a website. There's many different avenues, vehicles. Like there's so much that can impact the success. But when we've physically done it for ourselves, and we've told this story a lot, but when we started creating content for our own website and blogging, we increased our traffic by 10 times within 12 months, 10 times by 12 months, meaning from 300 to 3,000 or from whatever it was. So it was very easy. And we said that as much as possible. Here's what we did. That drove a lot of traffic our way, and we started to get some clients from it. So we decided to offer this as a service, but we only have 6 spaces available. So it's very easy for people to label what success looks like. Whereas with a website, it's what success is different from everybody. Whereas SEO, traffic, visitors, it's very easy for people to see. We did it for ourselves. Here's the proof. You've probably read the content. That's probably why you're on our email list. Yeah. We're offering this as a service for you, but we're limited. So the actual need to sell was so small in comparison to big agency projects that we'd been working 3 months to sign, to pitch. So it's very, very easy. So all we've done now is every single time we launch a new service, we do exactly the same. It means that we don't have a crazy different marketing system. We launch a wait list, we reveal the current capacity or the maximum capacity, and then we sell out. And it happens every time, and we will never change that because it works so well.
So can I ask a question then? Because so I can understand that, it feels like you're putting a cap on it though. If there's only 6 or 7 spaces, where does the opportunity for revenue growth come from?
Yeah. So we obviously increased our prices.
Okay, number one.
That's one way. As we got more and more experienced and we got better results for clients, we increased our prices we kind of got those results. So that's one way, and that's the easiest way.
And that's to say we don't necessarily increase for the people that are already signed up. It's when we open the doors again, these are the current prices and so forth. So,
yeah. And from there, I think that we had a big aim, which was to reach 7 figures, and we did that with very few clients. So, 6 or 7 clients paying, a certain amount every single month. Beyond that, we didn't feel a need to keep growing and growing just for growing's sake of it. Particularly because the profit margin was still very good. I think that in order to do that, we'd have to grow the team more. And that's a big choice between growing a very small, nimble. We have a very small, nimble team right now that are very good. I know them all very, very well. I speak to them all regularly. When you start moving up more and you think, I want to earn 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, that team has to get bigger. And I think we've made the conscious decision not to go down that route. We like the fact that the team is very fast. We like the fact that we love the clients that we work with, and there aren't that many of them. So we get to know them incredibly well. And that really works for us. And we've got that kind of business now that is very comfortable in that area.
Yeah, and then you're talking £2,000 subscription every month before they've even spoken to you, and you'd speak to them and they'd be like, why did you sign up? We don't even know who you are. And they're like, oh, we know who you are. We've read your content. We've consumed everything. So, but it got to the point where we're saying to people now, when they get on a call with us, you might want to be paying 5-10 grand a month because you feel like you know us as well as you know your family, but we always encourage you to start small. We want you to start small. We want to grow into this relationship. Okay. So when someone says, well, if you've got 3 packages, I assume you think the middle one's the best. And we say, to begin with, let's start you on this plan and let's grow into it. We got to learn a little bit more about you. We want to make sure we're testing them out for the first 3 months as well to make sure they're ticking off our ideal client box. And we want to make sure that it's a right fit. There's times that it isn't. And that initial onboarding process is going to mean that they're not risking everything over the first 3 months, and we're able to start small and get to know them. And then quickly, like what Lyndsay said, the second they start to see results, it's very easy for them to increase to a point where people have gone from paying us, £2,000 a month to £50,000 a month. And that didn't start from us pitching 15,000. It started from us working with them, doing a free audit, doing this, that, and the other. And then it grows over time. It
does. But I think getting very clear, like you said, on the type of client that you want to work with. And we weren't very clear on that for a very, very long time. And it's the sort of beliefs that they have. One thing we always work with clients is they're not perfectionists. Content will go out, and we'll tweak constantly. So we'll hit publish. We would rather hit publish, and we produce content for some client, like 150 pieces of content per week. There's so much content that goes out. So they cannot be pernickety. We can't work like that. So we have to publish content, get it out there, and then see what works and then tweak from there. So it's not perfect when it goes out. Yeah. When it first goes out, it happens over time. So we know when a client comes along, if they are very pernickety, it's not that there's anything wrong with them. That's absolutely fine. And they've grown their business and that's how their personality is, but they're not the right fit for us. And I think that if you're very honest with yourself on where your strengths are and then what kind of clients then fit in with that can be very powerful. And communicating that can mean that you're attracting the right clients from the beginning and working with the right people, which saves a lot of time and money in the long run.
And I think a lot of the time people are maybe a little bit more precious over it because they think it's their reputation. They want it to make sure it sounds like them, that it's authentic. But realistically, there's people out there waiting to hear from you. Like every sales call that you ever have, you're probably having people ask the same questions. There's probably people out there that are like, I really do need to start publishing content, but I'm too busy dealing with clients, that could have somebody else promote their business, could put out content. Think about all of the popular questions that you get asked that you have to constantly repeat. And you're so worried about it being in your tone of voice that you're not delivering basic content to people that would be happy to give you their money. So there's a level where it's like, let's lay down the foundations of you serving people. Like, let's just assume that your prospects don't really care about it sounding exactly like you at this point. Let's start putting out some answers to some questions. Let's start supporting the network and the narrative that you're there for them and you're fighting for them. And being able to publish content on a consistent basis is good for them, but it's also good for the algorithms. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, they want to know that you're committed to publishing content.
Yeah, they want the platform to be used.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you're not prepared to post more than once a week because you're not inspired to or because you're busy, then it's not going to do you any favors. So be prepared to be prolific, not perfect. And that's something that Daniel says, and we have to sometimes remind ourselves when we're not publishing content, it's because it's like, oh, well, maybe I've not got anything to say, or maybe I don't feel inspired today. Doesn't matter. You should have a backup plan. There should be something happening without you needing to feel inspired for the day. And that's sometimes what stops people, because they think it needs to sound like them. They don't want anybody else to write it. But your audience are waiting for your knowledge and your experience. And we're starving them of that just because you have a certain notion that it needs to be perfect when it doesn't.
So this feels like a really good time to ask the question then. And I know nothing is smooth, but you secure a huge client, you build up to multi-6, 7-figure agency. Life isn't smooth, yet you are now talking about a business that's been a success. You have a brand new business that you are launching. What was it that made you decide it was time to add more to the plate?
Well, AI dramatically changed our agency, like it did with most business owners. Yes. But when you provide written content as your main vehicle for revenue, and then ChatGPT comes out, it's going to ruffle a few feathers. Now, obviously, everybody's got their opinions, especially when it first came out, ChatGPT 3, and it came out just as we'd started to see success. So even though we look at content that we'd written and thought this is how content should be written, the perception from business owners that don't do this kind of thing for a living, they might say, well, why would I pay an agency when ChatGPT can produce content? You produce words, they produce words. Yeah. And, whatever you say about it, perception matters. So when that happened, we quickly realized that you can either decide to fight against ChatGPT and the tech, or you can lean into it and think, how can we use this? How can we use this to support our processes, our clients? What can we do? So when it came out, we decided to lean into technology, and we decided to say, okay, so if you're paying us for 2 blog posts a month or 4 blog posts a month, how can we, for the same cost that you're paying us, use ChatGPT to amplify that content? So we started to use emails. We started to take that long form content and turn it into short form content. Yeah. write emails, write tweets, write LinkedIn posts, just to encourage people to get back to the blog posts, sign up to your email lists. And that allowed us to start testing technology when so many content writers and agencies were fighting against the fact that it's not proper writing, it's robot, it sounds rubbish. We were like, yes, it's not perfect, and yes, you're going to have to feed it with an awful lot of content. But Lyndsay leaned into it massively early on. I was a little bit more reluctant, but you definitely leaned into it, and it really gives that technology kind of inkling that something big could come from this.
Yeah, I remember doing a webinar, and I did quite regular webinars. I usually get like 60 to 80 people on them. And I did a webinar that was how we're using AI in our agency. And this was in October, and I think that ChatGPT came out in September. So it was very fast. It was
what year are we talking about now?
I think it was maybe November, and we did it maybe in December.
I love how much you know about dates. I'm like,
we probably got them completely wrong.
But the thing is, I don't know. So
I think it was December or January when we did the webinar.
Yeah.
I think it was 2023, wasn't it?
Okay. And it came out in September, previous.
So, yeah.
But that webinar, I think, got 600 signups or something like that, which was way more than I was expecting, because people wanted to know,
okay,
how are you using it?
And this was early on.
It was extremely early, because we could see what was going to happen. I used it, and yes, it came out with absolute crap when you've just put it in. It just absolute rubbish. But I could see where it could potentially go if this was day one. And I had the advantage of my parents had set up a business when the website, the internet was coming
I
on
remember
board.
those days,
Yeah, and they got the first website. They were selling records. So people like Virgin Media, HMV, record stores were going, we're not getting a website. Websites are rubbish. And remember, my mum and dad, they were a fad. And it was in a newspaper. My mum and dad, I remember the newspaper saying, the internet is a fad. And they were like, should we make a website? And they decided to do it, even though everyone was telling them it was a fad. And I remembered that point when I saw ChatGPT, and I was like, I've been here.
Right.
I was like 6 when I was here, but I remember it really well. And I should go with this because it felt like this was a big moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did that webinar. It was, really, really popular because people wanted to know. But ultimately, and what I teach everyone is that, it has to be, when you're using AI for any kind of content, it has to be from you first. It doesn't know your stories. It doesn't know your struggles. It doesn't know your client's successes. All the things that make you unique and make content really good and engaging can only come from your brain. AI doesn't know that.
We say it's as good as what you put in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, AI is a really good amplifier.
Yeah.
So
Love
we
word.
were the first, I think one of the first agencies to say, we are using ChatGPT in our
some
content.
way, shape or form.
We're using it because we get all this great stuff from you, all your stories, all that really great content. And then we're creating, maybe a blog post or a video script, and then we're turning that into so much more content.
Yeah. So and we've used it ever since that to get us to the point that we're at now. It's just that it's been a little bit of a journey on every new version of, ChatGPT that came out has opened a new opportunity. And then you've got all of these other tools as well. So it's been quite interesting for us to use it early, adapt it, test these things. They've got AI video generation from Sora and Flow. Like there's an awful lot happening that we've been a part of. So we're able to look at it from what's real content and what's going to make a difference in the eyes of your potential clients, or what is not a fad, but what are people jumping onto? And it's been really interesting because we've had the opportunity to test everything, look at what people value, and not just jump onto the latest trending app because that's what everybody's,
of course,
nano bananas out, let's get the first tweet about it, or this new technology has come out. So we've been trying to find a path to take what we've learned from people
for your business.
Exactly,
right, makes sense.
Exactly. And that's where we're at today. So it's taken us a few years to understand, okay, we've been using AI actively. We use it every day. What can we do that applies to our business currently? What do we know to be true about what people expect to see in their newsfeed? And that's the new business. So right now, and we haven't really spoken about what Jammy does today, but for the past 2 to 3 years, we introduced video for clients. So we've been going out on video shoots, we've been filming, we've been taking what we would have done in blog form and actually getting them to record videos. And the reason we do that is because video first approach is kind of one of our big headlines, which is when you can say it in video first, you can use AI technologies to feed that into blog writing or LinkedIn posts. Whereas if you start with blog posts, you then have to record a video anyway. So we get people to say it in front of the camera first, and then we're able to dissect it and reuse it and repurpose it to many other different platforms. So at the point where we thought, you know what, we need to start thinking about how we're using AI within video. Yes, it's not going to go out a little robot and film people, but
That'd be cool.
Yeah, maybe.
Could we allow people to take our IP, our knowledge, our experience, and what we teach people on those video shoots, what we teach to our video editors, what we teach on terms of how to record videos, how to present ideas, and how to publish videos so that you can get more views, and could we theoretically turn that into an app? And that's kind of where we're at today.
Right, and that's the technology.
And that's the technology.
And we've always been really obsessed when we've launched anything of getting people to the finish line. So when we launched the blogging service, it wasn't just we're going to write the blogs for you. It's we're going to design the graphics for it. We're going to put it on WordPress. We're going to optimize it. We're going to press that publish button for you. So you literally do nothing.
Right.
With the video, we're the same. So we do that with every service that we launch as the agency.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do the exact same with an app. So we didn't just want people to get a video script because then that's just going to pile digital dust. You know, we wanted people to get a really good script based on their business, based on all their knowledge and expertise and stories and experiences. We then wanted them to record in the app. We then wanted them to be able to edit in the app, and we then wanted them to be able to publish in the app, because that's what we do with our clients. And that is the only way to get consistent content out there. It's when you try and do everything for them and make it as simple as possible, because if you're only giving them a half service, they're not going to do it. And the amount of times that we've worked with clients that have said, I've got all these videos, but I've just not put them on YouTube because I've literally not uploaded them and put in the thing, because that's another task for them to do. If you can try and do everything, the whole process, and that's always something we try to do when we approach any service that we want to launch or an app, we try and do the whole process for them. And it's more difficult, but you're able to sell it a lot more. You're able to get results and see the actual results there, because your clients are actually getting the content out there. So that's what the approach we've had to everything, isn't it? You know, try and do the full thing for them.
And it's rather than think about what the full thing looks like, is what are the main blockers? Yeah. So when it comes to video, there's planning, there's recording, there's editing, and there's publishing. Yeah. And those...
This is a very real life experience. Yeah.
And those blockers, you can stop yourself after the first one. You can feel super motivated and you can get loads of stuff done, planning, but unless you know how to record, lighting, setup, like how to present yourself. But then after you've recorded the videos, then it's okay, editing. Well, am I supposed to be an editor now? Yeah. Yeah. And then you get past editing and it's like, okay, how do I publish this so I've not wasted my time? How do I get it views on YouTube? How do I get views on TikTok? So we look at the problems and the blockers throughout the process to determine what the service is. Right. So we did that with blogging, we did that with live video, and now we're doing it in the app, which allows you to plan, record, edit, and publish. And it's easy to remember because it spells prep. So planning, recording, editing, and publishing.
Very good. I like that. Yeah.
We love a framework.
But the thing is that when we were looking for video software to support with this, there wasn't really anything out there. You've got planning tools, you've got recording tools, and you've got editing tools, and you can publish, but no tool takes you through all four steps. And we've asked people, and we're like, please tell us if you've seen anything like this, and nobody can think of anything. So we're not going after an editing platform. One of the things that we have realized is that people struggle to come up with the ideas and the planning and how to present them.
I just want to know the price. Like, is there a subscription? How do I sign up?
Well, to your surprise, there is a wait list. So yeah, there is a wait list, and we launch it.
I'm gonna add my name to wait list. Yeah.
So yes, and I think there is very clearly a need, more of a need than we expected, because we were going for around 250 people as a target on the wait list. To this day, we have 4,100 people waiting to get access to this product.
Why are you capping it at 250, just so I can understand?
We weren't capping it. We were aiming for...
If we got 250 people on a wait list, that's lovely.
Yeah, we'll move this through to the next phase. If we get 250, there's enough reaction there to say that this tool is needed.
Wow.
Typically,
over 4,000.
4,100 people
really wanting it.
And
what's the business called? Because I know the name was being looked at.
So it has been Video Flow up until this point. But we noticed there was a couple of businesses with a similar name and with similar software. So it's now Video Fuse. .ai. And the fuse that lights up your business, the spark that kicks everything off.
Get the views. There's so many things.
I love it. And this is in conjunction with two partners. You've got two business partners.
Yeah, so we started the business with Daniel. We wanted his advice. He obviously has run some very successful AI-related businesses off the back of his intellectual property. Score App, which is a phenomenal lead generation tool that he's integrated AI faster than anybody's integrated AI. As far as I could see, I saw when ChatGPT came out, it was like, this is everything. And then he's launched bookmagic.ai and then Awards App. So he's taken companies that he's been a part of and he's turned them into an AI product. Brilliant. And when we explained to him that we had an idea for this prep framework, and I mocked something up using some software, he was quite surprised that everything that we do with him when we're shooting videos in person could easily be transferred into an app, so that everybody could achieve the same results and go from, for him, for instance, we've worked with him for a few years and we helped his channels get from 7,000 views a month to 7 million views in a month, and that's over the course of a year, 2 years. So could the principles and the knowledge and the insights that we share when we're video recording with our editors, when we're publishing content, we see everything. Could we put together an app that allows people to do that on their own terms without having to spend tens of thousands of pounds a month with an agency? And that basically is why 4,100 people are on the wait list and why we've been able to raise more money than we ever expected when we're doing an angel investment round. So we're a few months away from launch, but it's nice to know that people can tap into our knowledge and experience for a low cost monthly subscription rather than having to need to spend
can't wait to see it.
thousands of pounds, which has been a hurdle.
When is launch date looking like it's going to be?
Probably the end of January, I would imagine. The success so far in the product development has surprised even us, hasn't it? It's going really well, and we've got a great team there supporting us. So, it's exciting for sure.
I mean, honestly, as I'm sat here, and I do want to, wrap up with kind of one other last thing that I wanted to speak about. But for me, honestly, I feel like it couldn't happen to two nicer people. And it's really great to see successful people who have a model of business that is built on, operating in a really ethical way. And one thing that I would like to touch on, and I know Lyndsay said you're okay with speaking about this, you guys, with all of this going on, running this agency, multi-6, 7-figure agency, new business being developed in the background, you've had some challenges that you have had to face this year. As much as you're comfortable to share on it, how have you managed that with running a business and running a family?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with cancer, I think it was it June? It's all blurred this year.
Yeah, it kind of it was kind of April that we were kind of getting signs.
Yes, we were getting signs. So that has been a massive challenge. Yeah, and I think
totally messed up our plans for the year, didn't it?
I bet. Yeah.
It's just threw a spanner in the works.
Yeah.
But I think from a sort of business point of view, and one thing that I am incredibly proud of is the fact that we've built this amazing team, because I can't imagine doing this and thinking I've got to deliver all this client work on my own shoulders. And, and I think that having that team there that basically meant that our clients noticed no difference. They were still getting the same amount of content. The quality was still absolutely exceptional because our team do exceptional work. And having them just run with it and just made the whole process for me so much less stressful.
You could focus on yourself. Yeah,
because it is incredibly stressful when you're running your own business and whatever health issues or caring issues, whatever personal things come up, that's incredibly stressful. So having outsourcing, hiring your first employee, whatever it might be, finding those people to help you do the stuff that maybe you don't want to do or save you time so you can spend that on either your own personal health or growing your business or whatever it might be, is so incredibly powerful. And it just hits home so much more when you're faced with something like this, because ultimately I didn't have to stress about the business. Yeah. The business was just doing exceptionally well. It can be quite humbling to know it's doing exceptionally well without you there. But that's something that I think I'm so incredibly thankful for, and for the team, because they've just done amazingly. And I think, 5-10 years ago, if I'd have had this diagnosis, it would have been so much scarier from a financial point of view. And from, you feel that pressure then to deliver to clients. And then that would impact my health further.
I mean, it's full circle to almost where we started when I was saying, what is the end of the sentence of don't work harder? And it's like, work in a team.
Yes.
How are you doing, Lyndsay?
Yes, much better.
Are you good?
Yes, yeah. So cancer-free, which is really, really good.
News. That's really great
good
news. Okay.
Still have to do a little bit of therapy later on, but really, which is really good news.
No, I'm really pleased to hear that. Well, I have literally loved listening to you guys, and you don't look like I grilled you too much. You actually look like that was fairly relaxing for you.
Yeah, this was great.
What I think I'd love to end on, because we've spoken so much about the influence that podcasts and books have had, is we have like a little bit of a tradition where I will ask, what are you reading, watching and listening to right now? It doesn't have to be business related, but I would love to know, what are the books on your bedside table? What are you both listening to? Could be music, could be podcasts. And is there anything you're watching? So should we start with yourself, Martin?
Yeah. So I was listening to a book called Obviously Awesome.
Okay.
Recently, that was the most recent book, all about your marketing for a product. Definitely going to be helpful in terms of launching a brand new SaaS. I think when you have a product that is new to market, there wasn't anything out there, it's nice to, get clear on what the message is. We're not this, are we this? Understanding that. So that's been interesting. That's definitely been a really interesting book.
Okay, so that's what you're reading. What are you listening to?
Well, that was an audio book.
Oh, okay. So we could do two there together. Are you watching anything? Is there anything that you're catching up on when you get a moment?
I tend to like to watch a lot of YouTube stuff.
Okay,
so, for instance, I like watching a YouTube channel called Starter Story. Okay. All about, so very much like business. Okay. So what I'm reading and listening to isn't fiction or whatever. So Starter Story. Yeah. A guy called Pat Walls. He interviews small indie founders, which is really interesting, understanding how small business owners sometimes find little channels that they can use without spending too much money. It's quite interesting to hear those stories.
Sounds like a really interesting one. Thank you. And what about yourself, Lyndsay? Are we all business in every direction?
Martin stole mine.
Oh, well, you can share a book.
Because he recommended Obviously Awesome to me.
Okay, so that's another one.
I'll get the physical book.
Yeah.
But I did recently also reread Oversubscribed by Daniel Priestley, because I love that book.
Another one to add to list.
Yes, definitely. In terms of what I'm watching, I like to rewatch comfort programs.
Good.
Especially this year.
Especially this year. So things like Friends, The American Office, just have them on repeat.
Very easy to watch.
Easy to watch, where I know the words and, you know
what's going to happen next.
Exactly, yeah. No bad surprises. So, that's what I've been watching.
Wonderful. Well, honestly, I've thoroughly enjoyed talking to you both today. Thank you so much for sharing what you've built. And I'm very, very excited to see what's coming in the new year. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much. It's been amazing.
Yeah, absolutely loved it.
Yeah, such an interesting episode. And when I reflect back on kind of what were the three biggest themes that come through for them, honestly, for me, that they have been able to grow to a 7-figure business, be working with probably one of the biggest names in the business by not being hustle culture, by not being bro marketing, and actually by coming across as like really thoroughly decent people who want the best for their clients. I think that reflects through in every part of the business. The second thing is how important team has been to them. For like full circle from the very beginning, where the very first answer they gave to me is don't work harder, work in a team, all the way through to Lyndsay talking about what has allowed her to prioritize her health this year with the challenges that she's faced, through to their adoption of AI and being early adopters of AI, so much so that they are now launching a software business with Daniel Priestley that is really taking the use of AI in content, like taking the bull by the horns, so to speak. And I think the fact that 4,000 people have signed up for their wait list is a testament to how much appetite there is for this in their business. Yeah, I wish them all the very best, and I cannot wait to see the next part of their journey. Thanks so much for listening to Don't Work Harder. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe and share. This show has been brought to you by Atomic, the home of epic business growth. Head to our website at atomic.site to hear more about our business programs and epic events.